Hello and welcome to Blogs for MMA.
Salam alaikum to everyone.
Alexander the Great Volkanovski is officially the backup fighter for UFC 280 for the main event between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. Why that is the perfect decision of him, find it out in this blog talk. The current featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski and current #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world is the backup fighter for UFC 280 for the main event. Now this is kind of crazy because you have to think, he is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter and he's a backup. Can you imagine being the #1 guy in the world and being the backup? That's like you have the best car in the fastest car in the world in your garage, but you choose him as a backup plan. You choose another car and say, yeah, this is my backup if anything goes wrong. Crazy, right? This is happening right now. Like, this is the best backup we might ever had for a fight. And we're very lucky about it. But it's also a good decision by the UFC and by Volkanovski. For both parties, it's a very good decision. It's also good for us as fans. Because you have to see, Volkanovski wanted to move up to 155 anyway. He wanted to challenge himself and be a double champ. He doesn't want to leave 145 behind him. He just wants to go up to challenge himself. He said that already. And with that backup fight, he does the UFC a favor because he doesn't have to take that fight. He's the #1 pound for pound. He can say, hey, I want to challenge for the title anyway, anytime. But he chooses to be a backup plan, which is a big favor for the UFC. It's kind of Superman for the UFC there. He doesn't have to do that, but for the UFC, there's no better selling than having a Volkanovski as a backup plan. If anything if shit hits the fan, you have a Volkanovski as a backup. That's crazy. It's so good for the UFC. And for Volkanovski, also, I'm pretty sure that the UFC cannot deny Volko a title shot after that step in. Because let's just say nothing happens, which we hope, and Islam Makhachev will fight Charles Oliveira at UFC 280. Volkanovski did wait. Volkanovski was there. Then Volkanovski will be next in line. Of course, Dariush versus Gamrot, the winner of that, wants to be next in line and will shout it in the microphone at Joe Rogan. Yeah, but I can tell you, Volkanovski will be next in line. If you are the backup fighter for the title fight, you are next in line. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that. That's a no-brainer. And that's very smart of him because he secures himself the spot. Because if Dariush comes in and knocks out Mateusz Gamrot with a spinning back fist or whatever, and Volkanovski's not the backup fighter, then I can tell you Dariush gets the shot. But because Volkanovski is the backup fighter, he will, in my opinion at least, anyways, get the shot. No matter what happens, he gets the next shot, which is very good for him. He secures himself this possibility. And also, what's very good for Volkanovski, he already does the cut to 155. As far as I'm concerned, he never had a fight at 155. So that's his first time cutting to 155, which is not a big cut for him, but still, this experience, the whole training camp is different. The whole nutrition, training, everything is different building up if you fight at a heavier weight class. So to have that training camp in already once before the real fight, and still we talk about the outcome that he doesn't have to step in, that he just stays the backup fighter, then he already had that training camp. He already had the cut 155. Next time will be not his first time anymore. It will not be an experience. It will be routine. And also he prepared for both fighters, no matter who wins. He prepared for both fighters already. This training camp, he prepared for both fighters. Volkanovski doesn't know since the time we know that he's the backup fighter. He knows that since months, at least since weeks. So he had time to prepare. That's also a bad factor for him because if he has to step in, it's very hard because he has to prepare for two totally different kind of guys. Oliveira, great striker, great grappler, and Makhachev, a heavy wrestler. These are two different styles, and he has to prepare for both styles, and both are masters at their style. So it's very hard to prepare for one guy, and for two guys, even harder, you can imagine. So that's the downside. If he has to step in, it's a hard fight against anybody. He can beat both, I believe it. But if I had to bet, I think Makhachev is the hardest fight for him out of these two. I think a heavy wrestler like Makhachev is a really hard fight for him. But Volkanovski has the tools to beat everybody. Volkanovski is so well-rounded, he's so good, he can beat everybody. So this is the perfect experience for him. He prepares for the fight already. If he fights, after the fight, if he fights Oliveria or Makhachev, doesn't matter, he already had a training camp for this guy. So preparing for him then will be a second training camp for him, which is great, which is definitely a favor. Very good for Volkanovski. For the UFC, as I said, having like a Bugatti as your backup plan is freaking amazing. They will be very happy about that. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they will talk some smack to each other, whatever, and already build up that fight with both the guys, Oliveira and Makhachev, even though I don't think that this will happen, but still, a fight between Volkanovski and either of those guys will sell very good. And they are secure, they have a banger main event, no matter what happens. Okay, if both fighters fall out, then they have a problem, but normally, if one guy falls out, which is bad enough, they have a great backup plan. Nobody, I think there will not be many guys that wanted to buy the pay-per-view and then don't buy it because Volkanovski steps in. That must be some hardcore casual that does that, because Volkanovski is as good as it gets. I'll be very hyped about that. Of course, I hope the main event stays as it is, but also you have to see, it's a perfect timing in terms of the featherweight division. Featherweight division is a champion there, but I think Mystic Blood predicts that Yair Rodriguez will take on Josh Emmett for interim title fight. December, January, somewhere there. Which is perfectly for Volko. Because even if he will not get to fight at UFC 280 and then gets a title shot at lightweight, I don't know, in March, February, March, whenever, maybe even in Brazil, January, against Oliveira, who knows, he still is a champ then, because he doesn't have to vacate the belt. It's not like he leaves the division for 1 year and there's nothing happening in the division and that's why they vacate his belt. No. The division is going on in a good way for him, because with an interim belt, if as I said, if the interim fight is beginning of 2023, and Volko's title fight for 155 is also like first quarter of 2023, guess what? If he wins the lightweight belt, he can go back down again and defend the featherweight belt in, I don't know, the second half of 2023, which is perfect. It's perfect for him and for the winner of Josh Emmett against Yair Rodriguez. It's a perfect setup, honestly. Everything for Volkanovski is perfect about this. For us, it's perfect. We got a great backup plan. UFC, perfect. They got a Bugatti as a backup plan, and for Volkanovski, he has all the advantages in the world with that camp. Perfect, right? What do you think? Do you agree with me? Is it a bad decision by Volkanovski? Do you even want to see that fight? Write it below in the comments, guys. Who do you think wins in the main event? My prediction comes next week on Wednesday, same time. We'll see how I see the main event going. Until then, make sure to eat your vegetables, guys. Stay healthy and see you next time. Bye-bye. Bloodsport out.
Eat your vegetables.